So we're starting in zoomed in like I normally do. I have already done this eye in the spirit of saving time, but it's easy enough to show you what I did on that eye on this one. I already primed the eyelid as well. I used my Smashbox 24-hour eyeshadow primer. And what I did is I only used it up on the upper half. Sorry, my dog is going crazy because the next door neighbor got here. So anyway, I paused the camera because he just wasn't stopping. He didn't stop barking. So anyway, so I did the eyeshadow primer just on the top half of the eyelid because I am going to start out with a pencil here. So for me, that really holds onto the eyeshadow without having to use primer. On top of the Smashbox eyeshadow primer, I used my Milani eyeshadow in Bella Cappuccino. I use this all the time, and the reason why I use this to set down my primer is because it is very, very close to my skin tone, and you can't really tell because it does match my skin tone. So that's what I've used to set down the primer. What I am going to start with first, like I said, is an eyeshadow. Well, not really an eyeshadow, but a pencil. But you can start with like an eyeshadow stick, or a pencil, or even like a paint pot or a cream shadow in black. That absolutely works because you're going to put powder shadow on top of it. What I'm going to start out with is my Pat McGrath Labs Black Smudge Liner Eye Kohl, which is this. It actually came in a set that I ordered from her, but I really, really like this pencil. It's a kind of fatter pencil there, as you can see. But again, you can use whatever you're comfortable with. It's just to put down that base, to really delineate where you have that shadow on your lid, and then to get that start for the rest of the shadow, basically. So actually, before we start with this, I want to start with carving out my crease, which I usually do. And the reason as well, besides for this to do, you know, like carving out my crease, is also to have shadow on the lid to actually blend out the black better. I have found, and a lot of people say it all the time, is when you're blending shadow, you don't want to necessarily just put it on the eyelid, especially when you're doing something like a blacker or darker color. You want to have a shadow on your lid because that helps to blend the color even better. So I am digging into my ColourPop palette here. I'm going to use this color called Going Steady. So again, I'm just using a little bit because with this shadow, a little does go a long way. And all I'm going to do again is carve out that crease, which I normally do because my eyes are hooded. But again, I want to get that shadow down so the black is easier to blend. So that's really all I want to do again, is get that color down, and we'll continue to blend. Obviously, this is a smoky eye look. Anytime you do a smoky eye look, no matter what color you're using, the basic principle of a smoky eye is to have it absolutely smoked out and really blown out and not have any harsh lines. So let's go ahead and dig into that Pat McGrath pencil. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to put this all over the lid. And what I'm going to do also is, I know this might look gross on camera, but I have to put it, remember I don't have lashes, so I don't have that kind of darkness already on the waterline that lashes give you. So as you can see, all I'm doing is basically following the natural shape of my lid right across. And even though my eyes are hooded, I am not going to bring it up past that because we're going to A, blend it out, and B, we're going to use shadow on top of this. What you want to do is have the highest concentration of color on the lid, and then you can work up from there. So that is that with the pencil. I'm going to grab my Sigma Blending E25 brush, which I really do love for this type of look. And then I'm going to be using my Natasha Denona Blackest Black Matte Eyeshadow. Again, you can use whatever you want. This is just my go-to look and really my go-to products when I am creating my black smoky eye. So as you can see, I'm starting on that same part of the eyelid. I'm just basically powdering up the lid right on top of the pencil. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to blend it upwards. So as you can tell, I'm really taking it to my eyelid here. But again, I want to really blend this out. And really make sure that the harsh lines are not visible. And again, it's going to take time, but you'll see after a while that you're going to soften up those lines or that line really on the lid. And then what you're going to do after that is you're going to continue on adding shadow, and you're going to continue blending it. So as you can see there, it is much more blended out. It hasn't blended out completely, and I've taken some color off the lid, but that is okay because, again, we're going to keep packing on that color. And like I said, what we want to do is pack it on the lid first. Make sure that is the darkest concentration of color on the lid, and then we'll keep blending up from there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to keep rolling through this section in real time and talk to you a little bit. I know it's been a while since I've done a makeup video. If you are not one to watch my planning videos and really like my makeup videos, you probably have not seen what, okay, I can speak, or are in the know. I am going through a separation and more than likely a divorce. So also you can tell, and you'll be able to tell when I start zooming you out, my background has changed considerably. I am now living on my own with my son in a 2-bedroom apartment, which I like very much. But in the old place, we were renting a house, and I had a downstairs. The basement was finished, and I was able to use that for my beauty room slash filming room and all that good stuff. So I don't have that space now, so I have to, you know, move desks and stuff like that. And not that I kept it set up downstairs in the basement portion, but if I wanted to, I could just close the door, which I can't do that here. So as you can see, it's just the build-up. It's gonna take time. You know, I learned like anybody else to do a smoky eye. It's not like I just one day said I'm going to pick up this brush and I'm going to automatically know what I'm doing. No, no, and no. And there are times that I, even to this day, that I get a little, you know, too excited about one eye, and then all of a sudden the black is way up here and I'm like, no. So what I really want to do too at this point, and what you want to do if you're going to do this on your own, is to make sure that the eyes match. So how far does this black come up as opposed to that black? And again, you got to remember that you're going to blend out and take some of that color off. So if you're really concerned about it, take it up to where you see that it's equal to this eye, and then blend it out and see if, you know, you're losing color, then perhaps bring it up a little farther. So I'm going to grab my blending brush, and we're going to do just that. Basically back and forth, back and forth, just blending it out, making sure that it's blown out, the lines aren't harsh, and then it looks like what it's supposed to be, which is a smoky eye. And this will help me better see once I'm blending out where it's actually going to stay on the eye. You know, if I'm looking straight at you, it looks pretty even. But, you know, I'm going to add more color up here. And then what I'm also going to do, which I know may seem weird, is actually bring the black out a bit. I'm going to wipe this off. So when you see me doing this, you're like, what is this chick doing? I'm going to bring it out far because I'm going to take a wipe, as you can see, like I did here, and clean up. So I want that black out there. And you don't necessarily have to do this, you know, it's just something that I find that I like the way the finished look is. And that way when I wipe off, it's going to help me really get a sharp line with the color being exactly where I want it. So if I stop here, it's not going to be up here, you know what I mean? And again, just blending back and forth, making sure that that's nicely blended, that you have the black really concentrated, really dark on the lid. And you're going to see by the time that I'm done with this video, or even before I even start my face, I'm not using a lot of products. And if you have a palette that has these types of colors, or the types of colors that you like in a black smoky eye, and it works for you, even with this, you'll notice that I only have a few brushes that I'm using because they create the look, and that's fine. So now I'm going to grab my ColourPop color again, just clean this up a bit. And I'm going to take actually a ColourPop brush, It's almost like a, what is it, like a tapered blending, I think it is. Maybe not a tapered blending. Almost like an E40, Sigma E40, which I think is a tapered blending. And so I'm just gonna tap off the excess. And what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna start halfway on the black and halfway on my lid so that I can get the color on there. You can see it enough, but it's really gonna be used to further blend out that black. And you don't necessarily have to add a color if you don't want to. I just do just to add a little more up top. You can add purple, you can add a deeper red. It's really up to you what you want to add up there. So as usual, I'm looking at both eyes just to make sure that the coloring is correct, the placement is correct, how much color I have here is matching here. And then I'm going to grab my blender, which this is a Sedona Lace EB13, but again, any really fluffy brush is going to work really well. So I'm just going to clean up under the eye. I'm just using a simple micellar water makeup remover wipe. And again, I'm just going to bring that up and get that sharp line that I want. And just really clean up in the corners. Get all that black off, obviously, you don't want that there. And you're going to put black on the waterline and on the bottom lash line, but you kind of want to do that on your terms, you know what I mean? So I'm done with the ColourPop colors there. I'm just going to grab a paper towel, and all I'm doing is just patting that dry. So for me, I like the way this looks. I had to add, again, a little more red here just because of the way that lid takes color. But I'm going to try to blend that as much as I can without taking off all the color. And let me just see something here. Okay, I can grab that. So I'm going to grab this ColourPop color called Full Zip. What I'm going to use that for is just to highlight the brow bone, which especially with a black smoky eye, I think looks so beautiful. Just want to make sure that that's blended out so it's not too harsh. I swear, once you finish off by like highlighting the brow bone, it just, to me, it just brings the look together so beautifully. Just want to blend this out a little more because I think it's a little whiter than the other side. I want to make sure that they're as even as possible. So before we get started with the bottom lash line, I'm going to do the rest of my face. For today, I am going to be using my Physicians Formula Rose All Day Serum. This can be used under makeup, and the reason why I like it, actually, I'm going to zoom out just a bit. When I'm really close to the camera, it just constantly is not being able to like focus on my face, which really annoys me. I have to get a new camera. Anyway, so I'm going to be using the Physicians Formula Rose All Day. The reason why I like using this during the winter is because my skin is very sallow. There's not a lot of oomph to the skin because, of course, you're missing sun and you're inside because it's so cold. So the skin or your skin tone, you know, tends to suffer for that. But I like this because there's a slight sheen to it without being glittery, but it's going to add, and it comes out like looking pink a little bit, but it just adds a really nice sheen to the skin, so your skin is kind of glowing and it looks a little healthier. All right, so there's that. And then what we want to do is move on to concealing and correcting under the eye. I'm going to be using two products from LA Girl. These are the Pro Conceal Concealers. I have the dark orange here, and then this color is Warm Honey for actual concealing. So what I'm going to do is it's just like a squeeze tube, and just a little bit at a time with this because this is very dark. It's like a brick orange color almost, which I personally love. If you have really dark under eye circles, this works beautifully, and it's very inexpensive. So especially like in that inner corner there, that can get pretty funky. So yeah, so I'm going through a separation and divorce right now, and that was one of the main reasons, because I just moved out, so I was in the house still for about 2 months before I moved out, and that was one of the reasons that I just wasn't filming, you know. There was, you know, obviously, I mean, it was a tough time for me, so I wasn't really filming. I had like my downstairs room full of boxes and things because I was moving, and so filming was honestly the last thing on my mind. So when I got here, I started filming again. I started doing my planning videos. I'm going to start doing some more home decor, and I was like, you know, you got to get back into the makeup, which I really, really enjoy. So here I am, I'm back. So the foundation today that I'm going to be using is the Physicians Formula, the Healthy Foundation. This is in DW2. I love this foundation so much. It is, I mean, it honestly feels so much higher end than it is. It's not a cheap necessarily an inexpensive foundation, you know, to be drugstore. I think it's, I want to say like $14, but it really works. I mean, it's worth that price to me, even though it is a drugstore product. And I've already done my forehead like I normally do to be able to do my eyebrows. And I'm just going to take a regular beauty blender and start popping that onto the skin and blending it out. And what I try to do too is, if you do use, like me, a dark orange corrector, I try to stay off of that area until the very, very end after I'm done blending everything, because if not, you will get orange on your sponge. I've done it many, many, many times. Also too, if you followed my beauty videos and you've seen my, I mean, I talk about it too, but if you've seen the Power of Beauty video, you know that I wear a wig. I have alopecia. I've had alopecia since I was 13, 14 years old. I got a new wig. This is human hair, which is really nice because you can obviously add heat to it. So I used curlers and stuff. I used a curling iron today. So it is a new piece, in case you're like, you look a little different. And it was actually more red than this. I got to go back and kind of get it touched up with color. All right, so next we are going to conceal. Like I said, the LA Girl Pro Conceal, and this is in Warm Honey. Yeah, so I'm, you know, I like it because I only wash it every so often. I don't wear it in the house to do anything. Like when I come home, I will take this off so that it preserves it. But I love the fact that I can, you know, every week or so say, okay, you know, I got to put these curls back in my hair or whatever it is, and just pop them on there and I don't have to worry about anything. So I'm going to add a little bit of concealer to this side of the face because I have some breakout there, and I think it's the stress from everything. And so I just want to cover that up. See if there's anything else to cover here. I don't normally do this, and you guys know if you've watched my beauty videos, this will probably still show the beauty mark and that sort of thing. I don't care. It doesn't bother me. So I'm grabbing the beauty blender. Just going to get that concealer on there. And really get rid of those dark circles there. And I do bring the concealer up like I normally do against that line just to sharpen it up. And just make sure we get all of that concealed up, all those dark circles and whatnot. And once I put powder too, that'll help to conceal some of it. And this is a really good concealer because I didn't put on a lot of foundation at all, but it looks to me like a really full foundation, like really not heavy, but it covers everything. The powder that I'm going to be using is the Born This Way Ethereal Setting Powder from Too Faced, and the reason why I chose that today, again, is because my skin in the winter leaves a lot to be desired. It's just, there's no warmth to the skin. And I'm going to be using my Smashbox face and cheek brush. You can use any brush that you want. I'm just going to pick up a little bit of that powder. I just put it in the cap. And I'm going to lightly really just dust this on because this foundation, I find, is very matte already. So I don't want to over mattify my face, especially in the winter. Just add it to a couple of, you know, just a quick kind of dusting on the face. Perfect, so that works for me. So we're gonna do our bottom lash line now. Once I finish my foundation and stuff, I like to do that and then do my bronzer and blush and all that good stuff. This is my go-to black smoky eye look, and I don't do it black and smoky the whole way around, but it really is the look that I've been going to for the last several months. Anytime I have a special occasion or whatever, I have been doing this look exactly the way I'm showing you. So the color that I'm gonna pick up, and do they have the names? They do. This is called Berber, which is this color right here. So pretty under the eyes. It really brightens everything up. So I'm going to be taking the ColourPop E11, which is a flat definer brush. For that, I'm going to pick up that color. And what I'm going to do is start that on the bottom lash line, but on the inside, because on the outside I want to do black. So what I want to do is just do it right on the lash line. You can already see how nice and bright that color is. So I want to make sure that it shows. So I want to take it about halfway in and make sure that we have enough of that. And I'm going to do the same for the other side. So there is going to be that color, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to clean off this brush, and I'm going to use the same brush to pick up the black that I was using earlier, which is my Natasha Denona Blackest Black right here. And I'm just going to pick that up in a solid line, tap that excess off, and then I'm just going to finish off halfway in and then to the outer corner. And I'm getting black on my face. That's why I need to tap off better the excess here. And what I basically want to do is just start the line so you can see it. And I'm going to do the same thing on the other side. And make sure that that line is really nice and dark. And we're going to add more, but I want to basically start that out so that we know basically where our color is. So that is what the bottom lash line looks like for now. But then I'm going to grab my Morphe E36, which is the tiny brush that I usually use. I'm going to pick up that Natasha Denona Black. I'm going to absolutely tap off a lot of that excess. And then just on the black part, I want to start adding some more color and really blowing that out so it's softer. And then I'm going to clean that brush off. And with no color, I'm going to start really blending that in. So again, it's just really blown out and really soft. And then we're going to do the same thing for the other side. And then with no color on the brush, I'm just going to start really blowing that out. And so you see it's much, much softer. It's not as harsh. All right, so we are going to, of course, highlight the inner corner, even though we have that really nice, bright kind of teal there. But again, it's just to brighten up like I'm looking in the camera now, and I love the way this looks so much. And like I said, it just constantly go to this. So to highlight the inner corner, I'm actually going to grab the highlighter that I'm going to be using for my face, and that is the Flower Beauty Shimmer and Strobe Highlighting Palette. And I'm going to grab this color right here, which the camera's not going to want to focus because it's so bright. And I'm going to grab my smudge brush from Real Techniques. I haven't been able to find this brush again, but I think it was like part of a trio or something. I just want to grab that and place that right in the middle. This highlighter, the highlighting palette, is very, very bright. You get a lot of bang for your buck with this. So you see that? Really, really bright, which I love. So we're going to finish off the rest of the face now, and I'm actually not going to bronze because my skin is very warmed up. So we're going to move directly to blush. And for that, I'm going to be using my MAC Wrapped Candy, which is an extra dimension blush. Really, really love how this looks on the face. I'm going to be picking that up with my Morphe E4 brush, which is a nice slanted brush. You can use this for face or whatever you want, but I like using it for blush. So I'm going to pick up a little bit of that color because this goes a long way. What I love about this blush is that a little goes such a long way and really, really makes the cheeks, they just look so beautiful. I love this blush. All right, and so for the highlighter, like I said, we're gonna use the Flower Beauty highlighter, but I'm not gonna use the brightest or the lightest color. I'm gonna use the pink in the middle. And for that, I'm going to be using my Luxie 522, which is a tapered highlighting. Just gonna pick up a little bit of that, because when I say a little goes a long way, as you can see, I only picked up a little, and I even tapped my brush off on a paper towel, but that really does go a long way. All right, so I am going to now put on my eyelashes off camera like I normally do. So I went ahead and put on lashes, and we are going to finish off with lips. I have a couple of favorites here to finish off this look. The first thing I'm going to be using for lip liner is my NARS Precision Lip Pencil in Lavandou. I use this all the time because it is one of the prettiest neutral purples that I personally have ever used, and I like the formula as well. So I'm going to just go ahead and line my lips. I need to be the spokesperson for why it's important to take care of your lips during the winter. Mine are very dry and I need to exfoliate more often than I do. So anyway, I also filled it in because if the lipstick at any point throughout the day starts dissipating, I am just using a cream lipstick. I usually don't use mattes. Then you'll still have somewhat of a stain on the lips. So that's why I don't just line around, I line and also fill in. I'm going to be using my Milani cream lipstick in Rose Femme. I've used this many times before, one of my favorite everyday neutrals, and I think it just is very, very pretty. I just like the way it really brings out that purple as well, because it's somewhat of a plum, but not really. There's, you know, almost like brown in there as well, but it really makes that purple pop. On top of it, just to add a little sheen, I'm going to be using my MAC Cream Sheen Glass, and this is in Below Freezing. I think this was part of a Christmas set, but they sell these, you know, like the sheen glass lip toppers year round. So I just want to do that to add a little sheen to it. Little glow, make it look a little healthier and less dry. So that is going to be the finished look. I hope it is a look that you enjoyed. I certainly enjoyed putting it together for you. I love a black smoky eye. I think it really just adds a lot of flair to the makeup look. And again, it doesn't have to be so over the top. It could be a very light, everyday black smoky eye. And people are probably like, black smoky eye, an everyday look? It absolutely can be if you just keep it a little more subdued. So again, I hope it's a video you enjoyed and that inspires you to do this on yourself. Trust me, blending is always the key when you're doing a smoky eye, whether it's black or any other color. If you have not done so already, please subscribe to the channel and also click that little bell so you get alerted as to whenever I upload new content. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up, and I will see you in the next one. Bye!